Hey everybody, Dan Sparrow, www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Once again, it's www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. One of your rights as a research study volunteer is you have the right to withdraw from a study at any time. And this is a subject I wanted to talk to you about today. Not only reiterating your right and giving you some examples and actually giving you some exceptions to that rule sometimes, and we've actually seen some of those on our blog before, where people wanted to leave, but for whatever reason they couldn't leave exactly at that moment, or they couldn't withdraw exactly at that moment. And I'll talk to you about that. Also, after I kind of go through that, I'm going to let you know from my experience and from Don's and from people that we've been interacting with through this blog and in our careers doing this clinical trial stuff, some of the biggest reasons why people withdraw early from studies. I don't think that's ever really brought up too much, and there's a key metric in the research industry called retention. So sites, research clinics often boast about, having high retention rates. What that means is that most of the people who join their studies will end up finishing or will end up doing a lot of the visits rather than just a few and then withdrawing. So different research clinics have different retention strategies. Actually, if you want to search our blog, just type in the word retention. That's RETENTION, and you'll see some retention strategies that we've used and that we've noticed were successful. Just type in retention. But anyways, when can you withdraw from a study? At any time. You can sign the form informed consent literally, and literally 1 second later say, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't want to do it anymore. And I mean, I don't know if, it does happen where people either realize that their expectations about the study were off, or maybe there was a lack of communication between the study site and the participant. Whatever reason may be, maybe the side effects were kind of nasty and the person didn't want to continue. Whatever the case may be, people have withdrawn early. And in fact, in my chat with Dave the other day, 2 posts ago, or I don't know exactly when, a few posts back. So if you're on the blog, look a few posts back. I had that live chat that I recorded with Dave. And he said a friend of his was in a smoking cessation study that was supposed to be for 8 weeks. It was an inpatient study. Basically, they give them cigarettes and an injection to see whether the injection will cause the person to not desire the cigarettes. So what they were doing was giving him basically box of cigarettes a day, seeing how many he would smoke. And the guy said he couldn't do it more than 4 weeks, and he was supposed to do it 8 weeks inpatient. And he said that he was just tempted to smoke more than he normally would. Plus, he didn't like the side effects of the drug. He didn't think it was working for him. So he withdrew. But he gave it 4 weeks, and he still got paid. He got paid, I think, $3,500, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, people can withdraw for any reason. We've seen cases, there are some exceptions in mental illness studies, and I don't know if they're well-founded or not. I mean, it certainly makes sense, but you can see how this can be abused. For example, we've interviewed a guy who was in an inpatient study for schizophrenia. He wanted to withdraw after about a week or two because there was some issue between, or I guess some miscommunication between him and the research center for how much he was getting paid. So he said, you know what, I'm over it, I want to withdraw. This is not worth my time. Now, he said that he came to that conclusion over the weekend. Well, the problem was the study doctor wasn't in that weekend, so there was a backup doctor covering for him. The backup doctor didn't want the liability of releasing someone with schizophrenia who just got off their meds out on the street. So he said, you know what, we won't do the study anymore. We won't do the study procedures, this and that, but we need you to stay for the weekend. And the patient didn't want to do that, but they had to hold him there because the doctor didn't want the extra liability. So this is where you get into the gray area a little, and of course the patient came to us to complain, and we featured his story on our blog a few posts back. You can type in the word interview or look up one of the tags was bad experience. One of those two, you should see that interview. We did it, I think it was in the month of June for those of you looking on our blog. But anyways, with those few minor exceptions, for the most part, if you join a study, you can leave at any time. You don't even have to give a reason why you want to leave. You can just say, I don't want to do it anymore. And people have done it. And it's actually in your Bill of Rights that I showed you, that we spoke about a few times on this blog also. Among your many Bill of Rights as a study participant, you have the right to withdraw or refuse any particular procedure or anything related to the study at any time for any reason. That's your Bill of Rights. Now, with that being said, and with reiterating, the fact that you can withdraw at any time for any reason, people want to know, why do people withdraw early? There's in the clinical trials industry, there's this metric that research clinics use to kind of, let the sponsors or the drug companies know how well they're doing. It's called retention rates. And retention means how many people that you enroll in the study actually complete the study. Obviously, for a drug company, the data is much better if the majority of the people that you enroll complete the study. Now, that's not always the case, and then different studies have different, I guess, what's called acceptable retention rates and not. So the research clinics who fall below that metric usually don't end up getting repeat business from that drug company. So that's a little tip for you people out there who are research professionals. But anyways, what are some reasons why people withdraw from studies? Biggest reason is a lack of communication between the study participant and the research staff. We've seen cases where the research clinic or the study professionals there were not really listening to what the trial participants were saying in terms of what their side effects were, some of their complaints with the medication. They were not being asked, how are you feeling, what's bothering you. They were just pretty much run through the system, and basically the study procedures were being done to them, and they were being treated, with respect and all that, but they were not being asked, how you're doing, things like that. And sometimes the study participants feel like they're just another number in the study, and so they say, it's not worth it for me to put up with all these nasty side effects, and people don't even care, or people don't even bother asking how I'm doing. So we've seen people withdraw for that. That's a huge reason. And this lack of communication actually can extend further. Maybe the research site doesn't clearly explain to the study participant all the procedures necessary to complete the study, or maybe they do explain it, but they don't make sure that the study participant understands what the study procedures are. And then another reason is pay. A lot of times people are promised more money than they actually end up getting, and this also goes back to a lack of communication. And then, of course, there are the expected reasons of, the drug doesn't work, and I ended up doing worse on the study drug than on my regular drug, and I don't want to continue because it's just not worth it. There are cases like that where people will withdraw for that reason. So those are the two main reasons why I've seen people withdraw from studies. And there are retention tools used by these research clinics that try to kind of keep their retention rates high. But basically, lack of communication is number one. Biggest reason. Lack of clear communication between the research clinic and the study participant. Hope this helps. Now you know when you can withdraw from a study, which is any time. And you know some of the biggest reasons why people withdraw from studies. Number one biggest reason, like we've mentioned many times on this blog, lack of a clear communication between research clinic and trial participant. We have to really understand that trial participants should not be just another number. They are human beings and they need to be treated as such. Thanks a lot. I hope this helps. www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you very much.